difficult days to kick on?
It was definitely cold, but in terms of the wind, I didn't think it was anything crazy. I think Matt commented that might have been the windiest game we've had this season, which is probably true. But kicking 8 seasons now, I've had worse conditions. And it did feel windy, but I felt like it wasn't affecting the ball as much. And that's what you got to figure out in the warm-up. Okay, it might feel really bad, but how much is it moving the football? So, yeah.
Harrison, with your injury, post-injury, and with your new kicking formula, the way you approach the ball now when you kick, how has that just worked out for you post-injury and just the comfortability with it, with everything and the stress that's putting on your body?
Right. So I didn't have pain, in the knee from kicking with that form, right? So some people have said that form's caused it, but, I started doing that at least the entire 2023 season. That was my best season. I didn't have any pain or issues there. And then in 2024, it just kind of popped up on me. And I wonder if it's something that a lot of kickers get just from the torque on that knee. There was at least 2 kickers this year that I talked to, and they're like, yeah, man, I think I got the same thing. Like, I probably need to get it, worked on a little bit. But it's a technique that I feel like has been working for me. When I first started practicing after the surgery, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that. When you get the surgery, you don't have quite the knee flexion, and in order to fall down on that left knee, you're getting into some big flexion there. So it's funny, for the first, couple times of kicking just on my own, I was skipping and I wasn't falling on that knee. And I was like, wow, okay, I guess I'm going back to this kind of like pre-ankle injury form. But as soon as I got put into a team, period situation, pressure's on, I was immediately falling down. I think I'm just reverting back to what I've been doing the last year or two and how I've been able to make pressure kicks. So when I get in that pressure situation, I just go back to falling down.
Coach said, you're not going to really change anything now, which makes sense.
Right.
Do you plan to, once you're through the games, to address maybe changing something in the offseason?
Yeah, I think it'd be something good to do just as you get older, and why put added stress on your body. So that'll be a focal point. But when you have been kicking and doing something for so long and you want to change a technique, you really got to make sure you make sure it's good in the off season, so that when you get back into a pressure situation, right, you're not having to think about it and you're doing what you want to do. So I'll definitely work on it. But if I feel like next training camp, I'm not making kicks because I'm focused so much on the skipping through instead of falling down, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing to make the kick.
Obviously last year when you had it, like you said, you had a career year. What is it about that form that you think helps you?
I don't know. I think the most important part of kicking is ball contact, and the follow-through I don't think matters as much. It's what's going on before and then right when you're making contact with the ball. And maybe it's just because I'm putting so much of a focus on that after I do kick the ball, I just fall down. I think, though, with the ankle injury, maybe I was a little bit more timid to put all that pressure and have the power and the strength to skip through after making contact with the ball. And maybe it was just subconsciously easier on my ankle if I just kind of fall down, right? Because if you look at the majority of my kicks, I plant and then all my energy just kind of goes down and my ankle kind of gives out a little bit. But sometimes in practice I'll skip through and it works out. And I think a lot of kicking is just the feel and focusing on making the kick, and whatever happens after the fact I don't think matters as much as what's going on before it.
This may or may not be related, but in what ways does kicking in the postseason sort of intensify or challenge your focus in ways that it doesn't in the regular season?
I think the weather makes it difficult. I mean, if you're a Chiefs player, you got outdoor games. If you're playing at home and you have to deal with 20-degree weather and the ball doesn't fly as far. I think also, I believe 2019 we got the heater under the field. That's helped out a lot. But like the practice field doesn't have a heater underneath, so it can be very hard and difficult to perform and do what you've kind of been practicing all of the off season, all of training camp, when it's warm and sunny out and perfect field conditions. I think with the playoffs, as an outdoor team, you have to adapt a lot more to the wind, the field conditions. You have to change your expectations. The ball's not going to fly as far. So going out into a warm-up and expecting to hit the same distance of field goals and kickoffs, you're going to feel pretty demoralized when you go out and it's cold. So you got to change your expectations and do the best you can with that situation. But the more I just focus on what I can control and that ball contact, the better the results are. It doesn't help to be worried about the conditions, which are going to be there for both teams.
Does it really require any change in mindset or anything like that, really, or it's?
I think the change in mindset is understanding that the weather is going to affect the distance, so not getting too hard on yourself. And it's nice, we had a couple indoor practices, and you go in there and you bang the ball and you're hitting it really far and high, and that's kind of nice to know, okay, you can still hit powerful kicks, and then outdoors it's not going to fly as far, and you got to be confident. That's probably the biggest thing, just being confident no matter the conditions.
Last one, Todd.
Harrison, I know you guys, you've used an app or something, you check the wind, you're always doing
Right.
that stuff. This morning I was watching the weather, they said it's not going to be windy. Can you verify that with your app?
I think I got to pay extra to see that far in advance on my app, but it's normally the day before I'll look. But you can see generally how much wind there's going to be for a game, on an app that you're not paying for, and then as you get closer, you can see exactly what it is. But it's helpful to know, how Arrowhead is lined up, what direction the wind's going to come in, and at least in Arrowhead, I don't know if it's because the stadium's so symmetrical, the wind on the field is opposite of what it is outside the stadium. And a lot of times I'll, look at that app, see the wind, and I'll tell Matt, going towards the tunnel, it's going to be in the face left to right away. It's at your back right to left, and it's normally spot on. I think I like to be prepared as much as I can, but being prepared the night before for some windy conditions and knowing exactly what the wind's going to do doesn't make that big of a difference. I could just walk into the stadium and feel it, and maybe it's just a experiment I like to do. But I think the more you know, the more you can visualize it before the game and just, prepare as best you can. But once you get out there, you got to trust it, no matter if it's gusting or doing some crazy stuff. Trust what you did in the warm-up, your plan for where you're aiming or how the lean the ball is going to be. And as a punter, obviously, there's a lot more you got to deal with. When are you going to do a pooch punt? How are you going to drop the ball because the ball's moving in the air? There's a lot more that punters and obviously Matt have to deal with. I think that's why people say punters are more athletic than kickers. We just kick a still ball. They got to kick a moving ball.
Thanks, Harrison.
All right, thank you.